future do the people of eastern Ukraine want? We're here in Kharkiv, the second largest city in the country, just 40 kilometers from the border with Russia. We'll be discussing how can the violence be stopped? What do they want from the new president? And what's it like to be the center of attention for the world right now?
Talking about it.
I experience.
This is chaos. People are going to want to know. Let's just say something.
Welcome to the programme and also to Kharkiv's Ballet and Opera Theatre. We're here with an audience to discuss recent events in eastern Ukraine. Here's a video from Victor who sent it in to us from Donetsk.
If we divide Ukraine along ethnic lines, and part of Ukraine which speak Russian will go to Russia, and part of Ukraine which speak Ukrainian remain independent, this way we can resolve all our differences easily and peacefully, and everyone will be happy.
Let's get some responses to Victor's video there. Tanya.
It's not right to say that the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine must go to Russia as a must, and the Ukrainian-speaking should remain independent or join the EU or whatsoever. I think in the different regions there should be referendums, and people should be given the right to vote and decide for themselves. It should be their free decision.
You want to respond? Katerina in the front.
Yes, I'm Russian-speaking. I'm Katerina, business analyst in IT. I'm Russian-speaking. I live in Kharkiv. All my friends speak Russian, but this is Ukraine. I'm Ukrainian. Kharkiv is Ukraine. Donetsk is Ukraine. Lugansk is Donetsk. Is Ukraine. This is the same country, and we cannot divide it. It's just absolutely impossible.
The lady beside you.
Well, I guess in this case, if we agree with the guy, we should actually divide Switzerland into 5 different countries, because people there speak 5 different languages. As for me, this is an absurd idea, and I guess that with all these language varieties, we have to stay united, which Mr. Poroshenko actually declared as one of his major principles.
Like I said before, I think that people should choose for themselves. Different regions should be given the right to vote, and it should be their decision.
Katerina.
I believe that following the same logic, we need to give right to decide also to some regions in Russia, which are near to China or to Japan, and I believe also Alaska should have say.
Those regions don't have this kind of political problems, and they don't have all this unrest.
Just because they didn't have support from the countries, just few machine guns, just few tanks, and they have the same problems as we have.
Sorry to say, but when there was this unrest in Kiev, it was considered like people fighting for their rights. Now, if there is a group of people who think oppositely, it is called terrorism, which is not right.
Yeah, terrorism is declared by our law. So terrorism is an act when a person gets a machine gun or any type of gun and is threatening other people. This is called terrorism.
Gentleman with the Ukrainian shirt in the front row.
Yeah, I'm Dmytro and I'm a project manager. Well, I would like to add to the points mentioned by Katerina is that, okay, but if England is speaking one language, it doesn't, well, Great Britain speaks one language, it doesn't make them united, and for instance, Scotland is having its own referendum. So it's not the point to divide the country, and not the point to unite the country.
Okay, gentleman in the Brooklyn T-shirt in the front.
I think language problem is artificial. We have never experienced any language problems here in Ukraine before, so this is absolutely ridiculous.
My name is Dmitro, and I'm a coordinator of Kharkiv Civil Forum. I wanted to add to my colleague that it's not a problem with the language, but it's not a problem of identity, because you have just ask most of Russian-speaking people and ask them, you feel yourself like Russian or like Ukrainian? And I will tell you, I feel myself Ukrainian, but my language is Russian.
Gentleman with the shades, do you want to respond? Yes.
Well, I've got a Ukrainian surname, but for some reasons I identify myself as Russian, and I'm eager to protect this right.
Now we all speak English. Let's make referendum and maybe let's make our future, opera future, a part of Britain. Or maybe let's speak Deutsch and our theater have to be part of the Deutsch. I think it's absolutely abnormal. It's not a fun. That's why I think that this guy from movie have to go to the hospital and somebody will help him. Problem of language. Some people like to live in Russia. Okay, buy ticket, go. We have trains, we have buses, beautiful buses also in Ukraine. You wanna live in Deutschland? Okay, take a ticket. Heaps possibilities to visit Deutschland, no problem. Why, if person won't live in another one country, we all have to be shocked by his actions.
And there's a gentleman here that may not identify as Ukrainian or Russian. Gentleman in the blue shirt.
Well, my name is Archit, and I'm a foreign expat over here. Fortunately, I see the situation, I believe I see the situation more objectively because I don't identify as either Ukrainian or Russian. And I believe the issue is not linguistic or ethnicity. The situation is more about identity, about the belonging to some place. And one of the basic United Nations Charter is about the right to choose, of the community's right to choose. And I believe that, yes, if there is a community which feels that it sees its future better with some other country, then it should be given this choice.
Unfortunately, we have the third variant of identity in Ukraine, not only in east part, but in west part too. Its identity, we call it Soviet expats, Soviet identity. And we have to understand that most of our problems are from the Soviet identity people, because they want to live in Soviet Union. They do not want to make a choice.
Lady in the front who's been waiting patiently with the white top.
It's difficult to find somebody more Russian than I, because I studied Russian and Russian literature in Moscow, and I teach Russian and Russian literature. But I feel myself as a Ukrainian citizen, and Russian language has been never prohibited.
I want to share another video with you. This is Reem in Bahrain.
Can the Ukrainian central government establish its control over east of the country and prevent another breakup? Are politicians ready to talk with the pro-Russian factions in order to reach a political settlement?
Gentleman in the front row here.
The problem here is that in eastern Ukraine, in Donetsk and Luhansk regions, there is not a single leader. There is even not a single community. There is no person with whom we could, well, not we, but the government could sit down at the table and discuss the exit ways.
That's a pretty skeptical take on it. Anybody else like to comment on it? Katerina in the front row.
Yes, Ukrainian government is open to any kind of discussions. However, people who are armed currently, they don't want to have any kind of discussions. They just want to show what they want to do without any doubts. So they want to threaten people. Government should definitely speak to peaceful protesters, to peaceful people who live in Donetsk and Lugansk. But armed people are really terrorists, and our government has really right to protect peaceful people from these terrorists.
You have a brand new president for your country, Petro Poroshenko. What should his first move be?
Well, I am for this anti-terrorist organization, and I think he'll be doing the right thing if he pursues in destroying separatists and trying to restore peace in Donetsk and Lugansk.
So further military operations. Yeah. Gentlemen in the stripes in the back row here.
Negotiations-wise, I didn't see any basically actions from both sides to seek for the meeting. That's first thing. And then second thing, intelligence and leadership is something what is built over the time. So we have to demonstrate from both sides that we are intelligent and we are the leaders to start this negotiation.
I think that if a person comes into your house with a gun, I don't think that that person comes to talk. That person comes and wants to get something from you, and wants you to do what they want. They don't want any discussion.
And do you want your president to discuss with them?
How can a person discuss something with a person that doesn't want to discuss anything, just wants you to do what they want you to do?
Okay, Tanya.
I'm Tanya and I'm an interpreter, and I have a question for everybody that's supporting current government and current president. How do you feel about our government giving an order to use cassette bombs in Lugansk to bomb the city administration? And using cassette bombs is actually not legal according to many peaceful conventions.
A response here from gentleman in the white shirt in the front.
Have you seen this this order? Have you seen this order, the signed order?
No, absolutely no. That the order was given by our government.
From what source? What source? Please show me this document, please.
Well, I can show it to you on the internet, or I can show it to you on the newspapers.
I'm not interested on any on image on internet. I'm interested on the official site of Verkhovna Rada or anything else.
So do you think that an airplane just went all the way to Lugansk and started throwing bombs at Lugansk city administration without any permission from the government?
I have not seen any proof of bombings.
There are plenty of proofs, and it's like videos were made of it, and lots of people suffered, lots of people got killed. The Minister of Healthcare was actually killed during this event.
Minister of Healthcare? What Minister of what? What Minister?
The woman that was responsible in Lugansk.
What Minister?
Let's get a few responses around the room. Natalia.
I'm totally against the anti-terroristic operation because even there are some terrorists, there are also peaceful people who are don't understand even the situation, and killing people, it's awful, and I don't think it's the way.
I can see some of you in the audience that are nodding. I'd be very curious if you could put up your hand if you have any friends or relatives that live in Donetsk or Luhansk. Okay, nearly all of you that are here. Let me turn to Alexander in the back row.
Actually, I would like to add that Lugansk is my native city. I'm living in Kharkiv 15 years only. So basically, I believe that people there were kind of spinned off by the terrorists because they don't understand. So they kind of exist in parallel reality. So, and when those people travel here, the first thing they say, I really appreciate what they say. The first thing they say that we live in a different country here in Kharkiv. So the difference is huge. And what people want, they want change. So language and all that stuff is definitely second priority. They would like change.
You're such an interesting person to speak to if you have come from that region, you're from that region. Yeah. How do you feel when you see what's happening?
Well, I honestly feel sad about people there because they don't understand what's going on. And they don't have possibility to change themselves.
Why don't they understand?
They don't understand because they are in closed environment, so they don't have money or possibilities to change what they have today. So they need external help from us as all Ukraine.
But you have friends, you have relatives there. What do they tell you?
Well, basically we don't speak that much right now because unfortunately even on family level we have two, how to say, opposite opinion on stuff. So, but they don't want to visit us here because we are too much towards Western Ukraine and Europe. So that's what they say.
Who else would like to share a personal story?
I happily spent for 20 years living in a small town in Lugansk region. And now when I call my friend, and my classmates, people who I played with the same yard, now they are armed, really armed. They haven't shot anybody and anyone, but they are prepared to some visitors. They're afraid of some imaginary enemy from Western Ukraine, from USA, from whatever.
I originally come from the Crimea, so my parents are now citizens of the Russian Federation. It's kind of hard. We do not quarrel, but we are definitely on different grounds. But what I'm trying to say is people don't know, the residents of Donetsk and Lugansk have never, 83% of residents of Donetsk and Lugansk have never left their towns or villages. If you ask these people, guys, do you want to travel? They say no, not because traveling is bad, but because they don't know what it is. Russian TV propaganda and defamation, which has been spreading all this time, has made it impossible for these people to figure out what's happening. Most of them are not internet users. Most of them watch TV. Most of them watch Russian TV channels. And they really, really have no possibility, objective possibility to understand what's happening.
Oksana, what did your mum and dad tell you?
Well, they suggest I should get a Russian passport just in case Ukraine stops its existence. Well, so I have to put a firm, my firm foot on this. Like I say, no, no way, I'm not going to do that. But again, these are my parents, they mean a lot to me, so we just try to avoid discussing these things.
But they're now a different nationality to you.
Yeah, that's right, they are.
How do you feel about that?
I feel really sad, and my mom said, hey, you were raised here in the Crimea, Russian-speaking environment, how come you are so pro-Ukrainian now? But I say, Mom, I've been living here in Kharkiv for 20 years, and I'm really happy to be Ukrainian and to live in Ukraine, and I want to support this state and to do whatever I can just to live and work for the good of this country, Ukraine.
I know it's very personal, but would you consider your parents informed and educated? I mean, they made this decision by themselves, right? No?
Well, actually, they watch Russian TV. They are not internet users. And despite having a daughter here in Kharkiv, actually 2 daughters, they do not trust us, relatives. They trust someone in the box, which is actually a really weird situation for me. So these family bonds are much less important than what a man says on TV.
I disagree with the issue about traveling, about internet, using the internet, about Russian propaganda and so on. What we are discussing here is the issue with choosing the concept for you. Ukrainian concept or the Russian concept. Those are different concepts.
How are they different?
Huh?
How are they different?
Well, I would say that Russian concept is something like stability and, well, stability. And the Ukrainian concept now is change. Like, some people want to change, some people want to move forward, some people want to be more open-minded, and so on. Different people, well, pro-Russian people, they want some kind of stability, I suppose.
Just one remark. In this part of the country, actually not only this, have always lived many people with Russian identification. So if, for example, English speaker hear the word Russian here and imagine that this person must have came from modern Russia, it's not true, because many people who identify themselves as Russian, just like me, we were born here and have roots in this land.
Natalia.
I'd like to say that Crimea isn't occupied by Russia. I've called my friends recently. I've stayed at their place when I went to Yevpatoria, to Yalta, and all of them told me that they are happy. They've been celebrating this for 4 or more days, and yeah, the economic is...
It's an interesting point, right? Gentlemen in the blue shirt, if they're celebrating, if they're happy, if that's what they want, what's your response?
I think celebrations that we can see from the Russian TVs, were made by Russian journalists who are making a huge propaganda right now all over the world. I can say that, in fact, Crimea right now was occupied by Russia. This is for sure. But this is still Ukrainian territory that is recognized all over the world.
I agree with him. Unfortunately, feedback from my Crimean friends is not so bright because they're happy that they're Russia now. And it's a pity for us. That's, I guess, the main message for us, that we have to build the country they want to live. That they have to want to live here. They want to go back here, and we have to work on this.
Let's talk about the EU for a moment. When this began, it was really discussions of an association agreement with Europe and the economic benefits, or depending on how you see it, that it might bring. That didn't happen, as we all know. But I'd be really interested in how you would like to see Ukraine go. Closer towards Europe or not? Oksana.
I am absolutely pro-European, not because I think that Europe is a great place and they don't have any problems. But for me, Europe is a symbol of rule and law and order. And Russia, for me, is a symbol of no rule, no rights, and absolute chaos.
There is one thing I have experienced many times in my life. Majority of people who criticize Russia the most have never been there. The European future is the thing which is totally described by English idiom fool's gold. It's a dream about future where we will have everything and not doing anything.
Let's now go to another video.
Hi folks, my name is James, I'm in Manhattan. My question pertains to why Putin seems to be scaling back his efforts in eastern Ukraine right now. And I'm wondering, is it because sanctions are perhaps biting Russia harder than Putin or Russia had anticipated? Or is it because Ukrainian military efforts are fiercer or perhaps have more support from the West than Russia anticipated? Or do you think perhaps Putin is just bluffing to buy some time before he carries out a next stage of operations in the future? Thanks a lot.
And thanks a lot, James, as well, for sending in that video. Two worlds, have you say. Well, a lot of hands going up, I see, as it comes to the subject of Mr. Putin. Let me go to Archit in the back row there to begin.
I personally believe that the situation with the eastern Ukraine is completely different than that of Crimea. And, well, I believe that Mr. Putin just wanted Crimea, and eastern Ukraine is not his major concern.
Let's get some more thoughts on Mr. Putin. In the front, Katerina.
Mr. Putin expected that the whole eastern Ukraine will stand up and say, "Oh, Russia, hello, we come to you." But it didn't happen. It happened just in two regions, but he wanted to have Odessa, Kherson, Kharkiv, Donetsk, Lugansk. But he really had support only in two of them.
Thank you, Katerina. Natalia.
I don't think that Putin wants all the eastern Ukraine. I agree with Archie that he only wanted the Crimea, and all these people who are with arms now in Donetsk and Lugansk, they are for independence.
I actually think that Putin did not really want all of Ukraine or anything like that. He just stood for the Russian people who made a choice in Crimea to join Russia. It was their free choice. He helped them, and for him it was more like standing against the pro-Western or pro-American ideas that started the Maidan in Kiev.
Gentleman in the front here with the white shirt.
You know, it's so naive when you're saying that Putin is protecting Russians after Putin has already betrayed Russians in Kazakhstan. He has betrayed Russians on Kursk submarine. He has betrayed Russians so many times. So that is so naive to think that and to say, speak up, that Putin is protecting someone.
All of you, as I take a look around this room, obviously you know the recent history of your country. 10 years ago, it's actually the anniversary, right? There was a revolution. Do you think we're going to be back at this point again 10 years from now? Lady in the blue and white shirt at the back.
To me, that it is a second choice for Ukraine to build our own country with energy-saving technology in order to be separate from Russia in this question and with gas negotiations, it seems to me. And I render as our Orange Revolution as a lost chance for my country to be better.
Mykola, did you want to respond to that?
I'd like to say that not 10 years back, but 23 years back. Don't forget, Ukraine has got its independence in 1991. It was declared by communist majority in the parliament. Communists were frightened by, can you believe it, by democratic processes in Moscow. We still lived in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, but with a yellow and blue flag, with national anthem and other symbols. But from now, we start from blank page. It's a pity we start with the war against terrorists in Donetsk and Lugansk, but we can manage everything. We can achieve everything just from now.
Thank you very much, Mykola, for your comment. And I'm afraid that's all we have time for on today's programme. Thank you so much for participating and spending time with World Have Your Say in Kharkiv.
Let me say something.